To celebrate 1 year of Apple Arcade, I've put together my personal top 50 games on the platform. I've ordered this list into categories. Use the time codes on screen to browse your gaming preferences. This list doesn't include games from last year's top 50 episode, just to avoid repetition. Anyway, this was a massive project to work on for you guys. Leaving a like is greatly appreciated, so I know that it was worth my time and effort. Thank you. First, let's look at the action games on Apple Arcade. Jack is back in game form. Visit iconic locations and characters from the show, whilst battling many enemies and bosses. It boasts some of the best player customization and playstyles that I've seen on the service. Despite its cartoony aesthetic, it's still probably the most high-end looking game on Apple Arcade in 2020. It also shines with a controller in hand. Marble Knights has you rolling around on marbles as knights, hence the title of the game. Use different orb-based powers to fight enemies, solve puzzles, and go on adventures with up to 3 other players. It's a fairly simple game, it's not that challenging. It still excels with some buddies though, as working together is really fun and addicting. Intergalactic Combat is ready for launch. In this space shooter, players will outmaneuver and overpower enemies after multiple missions. It's not an open world game, it all takes place on rail shooter sections. That doesn't hinder the experience, as it's easy to play on a touchscreen, or with a controller, or with a mouse and keyboard. No Way Home has you stranded in a strange galaxy. Alone or with a friend in local co-op, you'll fight for survival. It's a fantastic twin-based shooter with 50 plus weapons to use, 60 unique enemies to battle, epic boss battles, a procedural universe, and much more. The goal here is to find a way home. Let's take a look at multiplayer games on Apple Arcade. Battle Royale has quickly become the most popular multiplayer game on Apple Arcade. It takes the Battle Royale formula from something like Fortnite or PUBG, and then turns it into a colourful and friendly game that is fun for all ages. Play in solo player or squads against 31 other players and enjoy 5-minute food fights. There are many active players here, so matchmaking is pretty much instant. This is probably the second most popular multiplayer game on Apple Arcade. It's built so much around player, competition, and interaction. You can go into 20 challenging multiplayer minigames that are dramatically different to each other. There is even an open world lobby where you can explore or interact with other people and start a match. There are lots of characters to unlock and pets to own, so you can stand out from the crowd. ShockRods is an online shooter featuring crazy vehicles. Go into modes such as Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, Golden Ram, Domination, and just try to eliminate all the other players. All of these modes can be played offline too. You can also customize your vehicle to stand out. Crossy Road is back, but now it is a multiplayer arcade platformer. The goal here is to see how far you can ascend up a spinning tower. Each floor becomes more challenging, introducing new enemies, obstacles, and puzzles. It's really funny playing with friends. You'll be laughing so much from all the deaths that are happening on screen. It's classic. You can actually play Crossy Road Castle in 4-player local co-op or online. Hogwash is the most underrated multiplayer game on Apple Arcade, so much in fact that it takes ages to connect with other players. Thankfully, you can play offline against the AI, and it's still super fun. Its gameplay premise is simple. Play as one of 3 pigs and try to spread mud on the farmer's land, or play as the farmer and try to stop them. It's just silly fun and I love it. Not even PAC-MAN is safe from the Battle Royale fad. Here, you can play with up to 3 other players and will try to be the last Pac-Man standing. Eat pellets to gain speed, find power-ups, avoid the ghosts, and beware of the 256 glitch, which will collapse on you. There are a few modes and over 15 mazes to enjoy here. Let's have a look at the adventure games on Apple Arcade. This is my favourite indie adventure game released on Apple Arcade, or just in the gaming market in 2020. It has such a unique and colourful art style, but it also has some of the most fun and challenging puzzle solving mechanics that I've seen. Travel through worlds as a lost ember and search for meaning and a way home. Fun fact, the last campfire is by Hello Games, the talented people behind No Man's Sky. 26 years later, and the sequel to Beneath a Steel Sky is here. Beyond a Steel Sky retains the same atmosphere, fantastic writing, some point-and-click mechanics, and has a massive city to explore, but it adds in a modern third-person perspective and a very complex dialogue system that adapts to your choices. There is no focus on violence here, like many people presume. It's all about talking with people and exploring the world for clues to find out why a child has vanished. From the people behind Oxenfree and After Party comes their next adventure, Next Stop Nowhere. This one presents a more colourful art style and takes place in outer space. Play as Beckett, a courier, who goes on an adventure with a former bounty hunter, Sarah. The game has an intelligent conversation system with branding dialogue that changes your relationships and the story based on every decision you make. Look, spiders are scary, but not this one. This robot spider is a spy and must stop disasters. To aid you on your missions, you'll have access to lots of little gadgets. It's a very good looking game, one of the best on the platform actually, but its best feature is the sound design. Play the game with headphones to really appreciate it. My only complaint is that the game is far too short. Hopefully, more content comes soon. Head into the near future and explore the mysteries of the ocean below us. You play as deep sea explorer and scientist Mira, and together with your colleagues, you'll explore the world and make important discoveries. For this game, I strongly recommend a controller, as doing all the actions is quite awkward on the touchscreen. In this game, 12-year-old kids go on a 1,200 kilometer journey after a massive explosion changes the state of their well-being and the world. I love how the game blends 2D side-scrolling into a 3D world in the background. It honestly looks fantastic, especially on a high-end Apple device. The game won't be for everyone. It's kind of slow, but if you like narrative adventure, give it a go. Following a massive explosion in a museum, you must work with a lady to escape the facility. Thing is, your character has no voice, so to communicate back, you will send photographs of your surroundings and she will guide you. One thing to consider, don't play the game on a low-end device, as the game is not very well optimized in that circumstance. Takeshi and Hiroshi combines 2 worlds into one gaming experience, a world of puppet animation and role-playing games. The story follows Takeshi, a 14-year-old game designer who is creating a video game for his sick little brother Hiroshi. It's quite an emotional and heartwarming story, and it explores themes of family love. It will stick with you long after you finish it. Pilgrims is another peculiar experience, but it's loved by all who have played it. Players roam the land and will make friends with interesting characters. The goal is to help them complete their own little stories. there are lots of solutions to these problems, and that means there is great replay value here. I suggest you play the game on a touchscreen or with a mouse and keyboard. It's not really comfortable with a controller. Let's have a look at the role-playing games on Apple Arcade. Towers of Everland provides a modern spin on a procedurally generated dungeon crawler. Battle hordes of monsters, conquer all the towers, collect treasures, build up a city, and unlock and upgrade different weapons and armor. It plays a little like the Elder Scrolls Blades, but presents a richer experience, a more stylized aesthetic, and the combat and movement takes place on a grid. Welcome to Guildlings, an exceptional gem. It tells you a coming-of-age fantasy story within a modern mobile frame. This will make more sense when you play the game. I absolutely adore the low-poly environments, which look to be inspired by classic RPGs, but still add in modern elements too. The world on offer is highly interactive too, so have fun and explore. For fans of Steven Universe, or for fans of just the RPG genre, you're in for a real treat here. Explore iconic locations, battle foes, and enjoy an original story co-written by Rebecca Sugar. There are 7 playable characters here from the show, including Steven, Garnet, Pearl, Peridot, and more. It's not just a kids game either, adults can have fun here too. In this action RPG, you follow Ivan, who has a lot on his plate. He needs to find a wife, he needs to defeat the ancient monsters of Slavic folklore, he needs to manage only having one arm, and on top of all of that, he needs to look after the happiness of his mother. Yaga is a terrific game with fun combat and lots of customization options. If you miss old school Zelda, check out Legend of the Skyfish 2. It's not a clone or anything, but its gameplay is definitely inspired by Zelda, but here you have a 2.5D world and a fishing hook, which you can use as a weapon or a puzzle-solving tool. Play through the story, fight enemies and bosses, complete side quests, and upgrade your weapon. I suggest you play this game with a controller or a mouse and keyboard on Mac. Touchscreen is a no-no. Here are the casual games on Apple Arcade. Round Guard is surprisingly difficult, but if you can master its gameplay, it will reward you heavily. It's a bouncy dungeon crawler with pinball physics, loot to collect, and a castle full of odd enemies. You can play as a warrior, the rogue, or the wizard. Each character has different skills, items, and humor too. This is one of the most unusual games on the platform. Some love it, and some don't, and that's okay, it's not for everyone. It's from the creators behind Frost. You have to guide strange flocking species and creatures across different worlds. It has calming music and a relaxed gameplay approach. I find it perfect to play if you're anxious or if you want to relax after work or school. This is a shoot 'em up and a fishing game. What does that even mean? Well, you go out on missions shooting barrels and enemies and will avoid obstacles as you go. When you die or when you run out of rope, you get reeled back in and can catch all the goods you shot open. It's an oddly satisfying game. Card of Darkness has a progression system which is similar to Grindstone, as you must travel across a large forest, but it brings challenging card-based gameplay. I feel the game was actually hidden away by the success of Grindstone, so give it a go and let me know what you think. Cast spells, slay monsters, discover secrets, and save the world! Tales of Memo is a unique take on the memory game genre. Across many levels, you must find pairs of matching spell numbers by opening chests on the ground. Then you can use them to cause damage on the enemy. You must use your wits here and pick the numbers wisely, as combining different spells can cause more damage. Just don't be too patient, as the enemy might get some attacks on you. Here are the puzzle games on Apple Arcade. In development since November 2012, this puzzle adventure finally released on Apple Arcade recently. It brings you an unprecedented world where geometry repeats infinitely in every direction, and falling leads you back to where you started. It's all about manipulating gravity to solve puzzles. If you're into puzzle adventures from The Witness, Gone Home, Myst, or Abduction, please check out this one, it's great. A Monsters Expedition is a top-down open world puzzler which you don't often see or hear about. You will visit little islands across this fairly big world and will push trees over to create pathways. In fact, the game is actually talking about humanity. I'll leave it up to you to see what that actually means. From talented developer Amanita Design comes their next puzzle adventure game, Creeks. It retains their signature storytelling and puzzle solving approach, but presents a much darker world and themes. As you play, you'll hear eerie sounds from creatures and the world around you, and there is an electric original score. This means you must play the game with headphones to fully appreciate the sounds that are on offer here. Builder's Journey is a special game. It explores the relationship between a parent and a child in art and Lego form. You will go on a journey across different levels or locations. Builder's Journey wants you to play around with Lego blocks so that the characters can pass between levels. It's short, but that doesn't really matter as it's just good. It's a good game. Secret Oops is a puzzle AR game. It is one of the best AR games I've ever played, hands down. You must help a really silly spy to sneak across levels without getting caught. If you're playing on an Apple TV or a Mac, don't worry, you can still play in the non-VR mode, but in my opinion, it's not nearly as fun. The AR mode is significantly more immersive, and I love going up close to all the objects. Let's take a look at the platformers on Apple Arcade. Go down to the center of the Earth as I van and discover a massive dinosaur world hidden right below us. Enjoy some excellent platforming in the same vein as the game Inside, and listen to excellent and funny voice acting. The game is split into 8 chapters, taking you to unique locations across this world. Each chapter introduces new creatures, story elements, and gameplay mechanics. Play as 3 characters in an interconnecting story. Players must try to survive in a dark world riddled with pain, suffering, and sadness. Terrifying monsters will hunt you, traps are set up for your demise, and all the characters are alone. I'm gonna be honest, out of all the games on the service, this one is my favorite. It really spoke to me. Fair warning, Inmost has mature themes. It's not suited for kids. With this game, you can enjoy a platformer of sorts mixed with a music composer. That's right. In this game, you catch monomals underwater that can then be used to create more complex music scores. It's really cool. You can even share your tracks with others online. Fantastic. It has a Nintendo vibe to it from the graphics and sound design, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. Play as a young woman who is witnessing the final days of an ancient world. This game has a great opening, especially this scene right here. Awesome. Its gameplay is a little slow at times, but it has good puzzle solving, nice graphics, and platforming mechanics. Plus, the monsters and environments you encounter are pretty freaky yet striking at the same time. Let's look at the sports games on Apple Arcade. The Rink is my favorite sports game on Apple Arcade. It brings you superstars from across different sports, and now they are playing in sci-fi hockey matches. You can jump into modes such as instant action, challenge friend, solo play, or online 1v1. Matches are fairly short and gameplay is easy to pick up and play, but it does have deep levels of strategy to mess around with. Originally released in late 2019, in 2020, Sociable Soccer was massively updated for the 2021 soccer season, including 2020 data update of over 1,000 soccer teams and 30,000 players. Wow! You can enjoy modes such as daily matches, online PvP, single player, local 2-player, and world competitions. It's like a casual and arcade version of FIFA, and that's not a bad thing. When this game launched, it was quite buggy, but since then all of the issues are pretty much gone, and a career mode and more has arrived. It's a casual, arcade version of baseball, so in many ways, don't take it too seriously, but it's super duper fun, especially when you verse other players online. Remember, timing is key here, and it might take you a while to master it. Here we have an arena combat sport game. You can compete in 2v2 PvP matches in either offline or online battles. Choose from 7 heroes, play across 9 arenas, use 8 weapons, and enjoy all the game modes: campaign, online, blitz, quick play, and training. The game's performance can be sluggish on old hardware, keep that in mind. Here are the strategy games on Apple Arcade. What you're looking at here is a hybrid tactical role-playing game and a desk building game. You'll pick a character for each mission, and when in-game, we'll use a card system for your abilities that require you to build a deck. I enjoy the game's dark graphics and well-designed mechanics, plus the main character kinda looks like Redout from The Witcher. I didn't get a chance to show this game in last year's Top 50 episode, so I'm happy to be showcasing it right now. It's a fun, real-time strategy game from the people behind Bloons TD. Offline battles are incredibly fun and addicting, but you'll want to go into the head-to-head online and Bluetooth multiplayer to experience this game in its full form. That's where it really shines. The other side is a board game that also has turn-based RPG and puzzle elements. Players can control 4 survivors and will scavenge their town for resources, weapons, clues, but you can also rescue civilians and attempt to push back the creatures from the other side. There are 3 main levels to play through: small, medium, and large. Build robots, plan a strategy, and then commence exciting online or offline PvP matches. Your robots do, for the most part, attack automatically, but you can control a little pilot who can attack on their own or can take control of different units. It's a great game to pick up and play for casual players, while still offering an advanced challenge for more experienced strategy players. Here are some visual novel games on Apple Arcade. In Necro Barista, you'll follow the story of a cafe where the dead go to mingle with the living for one last night. You'll read stories 95% of the game, and for the remaining 5% you can explore the cafe. There is not really much gameplay here, just a lot of reading. Necro Barista is not for everyone, but for fans of visual novels, or if you've never played a visual novel, this one is perfect to jump into. Jump into an idle narrative adventure set in the Game of Thrones universe. Time passes in the game world, even in your absence. Cool! You must send expeditions beyond the wall and will make difficult choices. Throughout the day, notifications will be sent to your device when something important happens. Travel back to Switzerland in 1939 during World War II. Circumnavigate the interactive story, where all your actions actually affect the story. The game is inspired by vintage travel posters, maps, and classic art from the period around 1939. The game was short when it launched, but a new story expansion dropped in June, extending the playtime. Tangle Tower is a narrative mystery adventure of sorts. Like the other visual novels, there is not much gameplay here. That is what the developer was aiming for. Instead, you must search locations, discovering clues on a murder case. Tangle Tower delivers incredible writing, amazing visuals, and fully voiced and animated characters. Before we go, here are some upcoming games to look forward to. Slash Quest is an attractive action game featuring an ever-growing sword mechanic. It is releasing on the 2nd of October. The Survivalists is an open-world sandbox game that takes place in the Escapists universe. It is releasing on the 9th of October. The Collage Atlas is a unique pen and ink first-person adventure. You will go on a journey through an entirely hand-drawn picture book dream world. It is coming later in 2020. The Pathless is a mythic adventure game featuring an archer and an eagle in a vast open-world forest. It is coming in late 2020, around the time the PS5 launches. The Artful Escape is a musical adventure about a young man going out on a journey to inspire his stage persona. Ultimate Rivals The Court is an NBA and NBPA licensed game. Fantasian is a role-playing experience that uses 3D scanned real-life sets mixed with 3D rendered characters. Hitchhiker is a mystery game set along lost highways. The goal is to solve the puzzle of your own backstory. Box Project looks to be a turn-based strategy game with a colourful art style and small levels. Enter the Construct is a sci-fi FPS which takes place on another planet. Proxy is a simulation game that is based around your memories. You can play with your memories and learn more about yourself. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. It really means the world to me. I really love Apple Arcade and just what it means for the App Store and for gaming in terms of changing the way in-app purchases work and ads and just the good that it does for us as gamers. I know that a lot of people don't like some of the way that Apple is just going for indie games all the time. They want some bigger games, but I don't really care. I really love that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This has been the biggest video that I've ever put out on the channel, and it took a really long time, but I've been working on this video for about 6 months. In fact, I've recorded every game in this video, which is about a little over 1 terabyte of footage just for this video. But it was so much fun and I've enjoyed working with all the developers. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, as I'll be doing many more Apple Arcade videos in the future. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. Just wanted to take a moment at the end of this video to say thank you.